in the finest tradition of British sovereigns. He's given his whole heart, everything he's got, to those parts of Britain that are beyond the realm of mere legislation. It's not easy, but which define its essence and its virtue, its harmony, and its soul.
Donald Trump, the president of the United States, I think he's like 80 years old, is struggling his way through reading that pre-prepared speech while everyone that he's talking to is like, when's the kid going to sit down? When is the first grader going to sit down? If you practice at home, Tommy, you'll get much better at it. I promise. It's a process. You're not going to get it right away. If you just sound out the words, and eventually the flow of the speech will eventually come better. You can even read it as if you're saying it yourself, Johnny. I want you to imagine if any other president of the United States was overseas and was reading off a piece of paper going, and you can legislate and help best, then they'd be clowning them and saying he's an embarrassment to the country and he's completely unqualified for the position. And that's not even the reasons why he's unqualified for the position, you guys. I'm going to get into why he's unqualified for the position.
We have all of these things are being built. Car companies are moving back. We lost 50%, 54% of we were the automobile capital of the world. And all of a sudden it got robbed by China, Japan, Germany, all these countries. Those companies, they're all coming back now to the United States. They're building car companies and factories all over. They're coming back from Mexico and Canada. We lost a lot to Mexico. We lost a lot to Canada. They're all coming back because of the tariffs. Without the tariffs, a different story, but they're coming back because of the tariffs. And you're going to see that kick in probably in a year or so.
Mm-hmm. So,
but we're doing well anyway.
This economy is going to kick in a year or so. I just want to start by highlighting that Donald Trump just lists lies. He just says things. Everything is wonderful. It's on the up and up. And actually, since things are actually not wonderful and on the up and up, let me say that things will kick in a year or so. Flashback to the campaign. Do you guys remember when he said, and when I become president, things are going to kick in a year or so? That is after everything is devastatingly bad with the economy for the first year. Then after that, it's going to be something else. So I want you guys to compare the sounds of that guy talking about the economy and what it is he says is happening despite what you're experiencing right in front of your face, and see that we chose him and his opinions over someone who thinks clearly and speaks to folks about the situations that they're in. This is the difference.
Look how big the consumer debt load is right now and how it has grown by $4 trillion over the past 6 years. This is not pandemic money. This is coming out now. More and more families cannot make it to the end of the month without borrowing money. Look at what's happening right now with car loans. More people are in default. More people are seeing their cars taken away. And for a lot of people, that means they can't go ahead and go to work. Look at what's happening to consumer sentiment. People who do the work every day, not the folks who show up to hobnob with the King of England, but the people on the ground here in America who keep this country running. They are telling us that they are not seeing an economy that works. We need an economy that's working for small businesses, working for medium-sized businesses, working for people who do the work of keeping this economy going.
It sounds like someone who cares about the economy, who cares about regular people, the Americans that actually make up the driving force of the economy in this country, rather than focusing strictly on billionaires who paid him enough money to get in positions to then influence him to give them more, just handouts to these rich assholes. It's pretty constant. But for some reason, when we hear her speak, it's like, oh, I can't believe she's talking about what it is that would actually help the economy. It's not like she actually knows what she's talking about. It's not like she has a history behind this. They both do. Donald Trump's history behind things economically and business-wise suck. He fails at these things. Multiple times he's talked about how he's failed at it. Instead of it's smart that he failed at it and then got bailed out like a chump. For some reason, that's something that in our country we value over someone who's thinking and knows what they're talking about. But on the other side of it, you've got Donald Trump, who wants nothing to do with citing any figures, any facts, and definitely not any polls about the reality of what's happening. He's on Fox News when he's saying this.
I think that people are going to feel that, because we do see polling that doesn't poll well in the economy. The recent Fox polling said 52% say the economy is worse under this administration. You've got unemployment at the highest rate in 4 years. Groceries made a big jump in the last term. So how is that? You're looking forward with these plans that you just talked about. When will people feel that, Mr.
Well,
Trump?
when the factories start opening. I mean, right now we're building them. And, you know, Fox polling, I have to tell you, I've told you before, it's the worst polling I've ever had. It's always, I mean, during the election, they had me winning by a little bit, not by a massive amount. And Fox polling, I've told Rupert Murdoch, go get yourself a new pollster because he stinks. And this is for years now.
His answer to a poll that talks about people's reality of how their economy looks right in front of them is Rupert Murdoch needs new polls. Do we see the pattern? This guy has always been talking about it. During COVID, it's let's just stop testing and the numbers will get better. He ignores the issue and just says, let's stop evaluating, let's stop looking at it, let's stop measuring the results of my actions. He did it with the jobs numbers. He got rid of the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics because job numbers kept sucking. And this is the crazy part. Representative Ted Lieu pointed this out. The crazy part is after firing the commissioner of BLS, it's weird. The next month, those numbers still sucked. And the revision numbers that he said they all screwed up before because they have a new person in place, they sucked even worse. So again, as I've been saying, I think for this whole week, I've been trying to emphasize it more. He's a liar. He's been a liar his whole life. So when he says something, let's not start believing it now because everything that he's already said hasn't come to reality. Here's some more reality that he's trying to deny. I want you guys to see the difference between what he's saying versus what the reality is.
All right, new this morning, new data showing the credit scores are falling at the fastest pace in the U.S. since the Great Recession, as Americans struggle to keep up with the rising cost of living.
It's more evidence that some Americans, they're hurting because of the high cost of living and because of the return of student loans. So FICO had found that credit scores on average, they increased every single year between 2013 and last year when they dipped. And today, FICO says there's an even bigger drop this year. As you mentioned, the biggest since 2009 during the Great Recession. Credit scores, they're still pretty high, moving in the wrong direction, in part because more and more Americans are falling behind on their bills. FICO says that delinquency rates are at or near the highest level since 2009 on car loans, credit cards, and also on personal loans as well. And Gen Z, they're under even more pressure. FICO says that credit scores for Gen Z down by the most of any age group since 2020. And part of that problem, of course, is student debt, right? Starting in February, they started to report delinquencies on student loans for the first time since COVID. And FICO has found that a record high 29% of people who have student debt have been reported as delinquent. Only 62% have actually made a recent payment.
And when you destroy an economy, when jobs are harder and harder to find, when the amount of money that people are making is bad, while then everything else is going up in pricing, it's going to get worse. I mean, it's weird. We've been saying it all year. It's like things are going to keep getting worse. But have you ever seen Donald Trump even address the issues with younger adults coming out of college with, maybe new debt that some of them have, or just getting into the job market? When is he going to actually speak about the folks that he doesn't care about? Again, let's go back to the numbers. Here's some numbers that Donald Trump floated.
And we're going to be reducing drug costs over the next year and a half by not 50 or 60%, by 1,000%, because if you think a $10 pill going, so it'll be raised up from 10 to 20 because it's the world versus us. So the world is a bigger place. So it'll go from 10 to 20. It won't go from 10 to 50 or 60 for them, which is bearable. And it'll go from 10 to 20 for us. So you're talking about a monumental change in healthcare. That's going to affect Medicare, Medicaid, even Social Security. It's going to affect everything. That will be one of the biggest things you'll ever see done, because we've been paying for the health care of every nation in the world so stupidly.
I was going to say he doesn't know what he's talking about, but that's so far from anything near his mindset. He doesn't care to know what he's talking about. I want you guys to pull out your calculators. Maybe you guys have it on hand. Drug prices are going to go down 1,000%. We start with nonsense in the first place. Drug prices are going to bring down 1,000%. I mean, a month or two ago, it was 1,500%.
Tremendous drop in drug prices. We've cut drug prices by 1,200, 1,300, 1,400, 1,500%. I don't mean 50%. I mean 14, 15, 100%.
I mean, why we lost that 500% more on negative costs of drugs, but still. Then he explains how these prices are going to go up for folks. Up. He said the drug price will be at $10, and then for everyone else in the rest of the world, it's 30 and 40 and $50. But then here, it'll be just 20. How do drug prices go down 1,000%? But then when you start with this number of $10 and then it goes up to $20, that sounds like it's doubled. But 20 is bearable though. It's okay. Is $20 the straight through line cost for every kind of medication, for every prescription? Because this is what he's talking about, drug prices. So that's across the board. Everything is $10 right now. And then it's going to go to $20. Everything. I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Martha McCallum could have asked him that, even ass-kissing way. Could have been like, oh, what does that mean? I'm too stupid to know what you're talking about. What does that mean? Are all drug prices right now $10? And how does it get 1,000% less, but still? Here's the last piece of this stupid guy. It's not even from that same interview with Martha McCallum on Fox News. It's him talking about the bad numbers, the proof and the evidence that he keeps dismissing. Here's his excuse.
Core GDP, and this is, you probably saw some numbers today. And I have to start off by saying that's Biden. That's not Trump, because we came in on January, this is quarterly numbers, and we came in and I was very against everything that Biden was doing in terms of the economy, destroying our country.
Man, Biden must be in his the extra year of his term in office, because for some reason this entire year of his economy that he says is booming, he keeps saying we're in the middle of the golden age. We're the hottest country on earth. Is that from Biden's doing? Because you keep saying we're the hottest country in the world. And if it's Biden's economy in the hottest country in the world, that means it's Biden doing good things while not in office. Or is it whenever you see bad news about your economy, you then say this is Biden's economy, but at the same time, we're the hottest country in the world? Make it make sense. Like, somebody explain it to me. Maybe one of those stooges sitting around him can explain how somehow Biden's economy is doing this while it's also the best thing in the world. Last thought. He said these numbers are quarterly. Again, he can't read, as we saw from the top, but apparently he also doesn't know what quarters are. It's September, bro. That's like the 10th month of the year. But these are quarterly numbers that he's seeing. He just came in January, only 9 months ago. These are quarterly numbers. I guess quarters happen about, every year and a half.